So there are two things that we all must understand. And it's really like the bare bones of conscious creation and manifestation. And I want to be really clear, when I say manifestation, I'm not talking about let's swing our crystals, although I do have crystals that swing. I'm just talking about the reality that we are 100% of the time creating our reality based on our thoughts and our feelings. That is no surprise. I was telling my coaching clients earlier today that I was reading something that was written 2,000 years ago, like back in the day of Buddha and Jesus, way back then. And that was man's and women's, but it said man's biggest conundrum is managing their thoughts. And I want you to think about that 2,000 years ago, that was their problem. That was their challenge. Being able to feel grateful and not to be stressed out and worried and not to be, competitive or evil or whatever. The point is that man's own mind, since back in the days of Aristotle and Plato and the Greeks and the Egyptians, it's always been about our thoughts and feelings. Do you get that? And back then, I mean, you had major problems like, how am I not going to be eaten by something bigger than me or get stoned to death? How am I going to feed my family? Like, they had real problems going on, and they didn't have the distractions of the smartphone and a camera and texting and social media and email and 5G. They didn't have all those distractions. And I know, how about poison in the food, in the water, in the air, in the pharmaceuticals? I mean, we have a lot more to distract us than we did back in the day, right? It's just a fact. I think back then their problems were more serious than they are right now, but that's just a matter of opinion, so who really knows? Here's the thing though. There are three things that we need to be aware of. And it really boils down to expansion or contraction and recoding and rewiring. And all of us are perfectly capable of doing this. It's not like, sometimes I have people in coaching and they think if I invest, this much money, Tamara's going to fix me. And Tamara can't fix anybody. Nobody can fix you, not even you, because you're not broken. You are not broken. And as I said, in a video I did recently on beliefs, we think we're broken, so we're always trying to fix our brokenness, and we're not broken. It's kind of like trying to find something that you didn't lose, and you could spend your whole life looking for it, and you're never going to find it because you didn't lose in the first place. Does that make sense? So expansion is about expanding and opening and just being open to receive, but it's also about being giving of joy and gratitude and all the good things, right? We want to attract new clients. We have to be open, not just to receive them, but to attract them in the first place. Clients are actually repelled by people who are like, prospects, I should say, are repelled by people who are stressed out and contracted. So on the other side of the coin is contraction. Contraction is where you're all, your nervous system is all jacked up and you're like fight or flight and you're in scarcity. I love it because in real estate I can say scarcity, meaning scarcity, because it's a location, and I say, or great state, grateful state. Get it? Scarcity or grateful state. So we want to be in the grateful state. We don't want to be in scarcity. That is a bad location, right? Resale value is terrible. We want to be in great state. So contraction is when we are like squeezing and grasping. When you have contraction, and you can see it all around us, you can see it on social media, you can see it when you go to the shopping mall, you can see it during traffic. People are self-centered, they're greedy, they're competitive, they're snappy and irritable, they're vindictive. Contraction is not something that you want. Now here's the thing when it comes to marketing and sales and all the good things, is that if we are in scarcity, we are in contraction. And I don't care how big the smile you plaster on your face is. It doesn't matter, because the energy is the energy. Now, the caveat to that is we now know through advanced psychology and biology that if you do put a big smile on your face, it actually causes the hormones in your brain that are secreted to actually uplift your mood. So when I say you can't just fake it, you actually can to a certain degree. But when you're on the phone, say you're calling a prospect, and you think you're going to fake it with a smile, that energy will come right through. 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒄𝒄, one of the most famous, renowned, proven psychics in the United States of all time, once said that a person's voice is the highest vibration of all for that person. So when you're speaking and you are not feeling embodied with the identity that you want to be portraying, you're not feeling in your abundant state, that's going to come out in your voice. And people are going to pick that up on the phone. I personally believe that your energy comes out in your marketing materials. It comes out in your voice. It comes out in your Facebook Lives. It comes out in your posts. You just can't fake it. Okay, you just can't fake it. So contraction is contagious in a bad way, and expansion, the open one, is contagious in a good way. So we attract clients and bring them to us when we are expanded. And let's face it, expansion is joy and gratitude and compassion and generosity. It's being of service, right? It's loving. Contraction is all the things that I just listed. We don't need to say them again. But, it's icky. Now, the third one is recoding and rewiring. And we know that through neuroscience, neuroplasticity, we can rewire our brains, and that will cause our subconscious activity, which is what's driving the bus. Remember, it will cause it to go in the direction we want it to when we recoded it. Right now, if we're operating under the auspices of our unconscious thinking, which, quite honestly, your unconscious thinking is not here to help you. It's here to help you survive, not here to help you thrive. It's only looking for bad guys and bad things and things that may eat you at night. Okay, so we have another conversation about that. But for right now, just understand that you are completely in control of rewiring your neuroplasticity, your neural networks. But it takes conscious effort. And look at the video I did on changing beliefs consciously, I think last week. The second thing, or the third category, the second thing, is recoding. What does recoding mean? Well, we all have DNA. We all have DNA. And, long gone are the days when scientists are saying, oh, it's called junk DNA. No, there's nothing junky about it. Our DNA is generational and ancestral. So we know now through epigenetics that you can be born, never have, let's just say hypothetically, you never have any problems in your family with money, but yet you're scared to death that you're going to go poor. Well, it could actually technically, literally be because you had a grandfather who went bankrupt. It's trippy stuff. I'm going to be the first to admit it. And what I have found in my coaching practice is more often than not, it is generational. So that scenario is really unlikely unless earlier generations recoded it already, which is highly unlikely, right? So in other words, most of us, the issues that we have, the fears that we have, the phobias we have, if they were not caused in a conscious manner by something that happened to us when we were younger, it could have been something that happened to your parents or their grandparents. Here's a fun fact. I think I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again because it's really a fun fact. And that is that if you're a woman, when your grandmother was pregnant with your mother, the egg of you was already inside your mother. So everything that your mom went through, everything your grandma went through when she was pregnant, and everything your mom went through from pre-birth to having you, and when she was pregnant with you, all of that played a role. So now we know, like I said, through epigenetics, that we have so many genetic predispositions. But the good news is they don't have to come true. Just because, people in your family die of diabetes doesn't mean you have to. It's all about the gene expression. So we can recode our DNA, and it's all done in the same way. It's consciously deciding what we're going to create with our lives and embodying the vision and the version and the emotions of it, and then taking inspired action towards it. But it's got to start with a conscious choice. Everything has to start with a conscious choice. Okay, so hopefully you found that helpful. Check out my new class if you're in real estate. And if you're not in real estate and interested in coaching, go to my website, tamaradorris.com, and let us talk. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thanks for watching.